Today, I wanted to do something a little bit different. So I thought I would get out the house and come for my walk, my usual walk. And something quite significant just hit me today. I just realized that I had my biggest month ever in my life in trading. And this is crazy for me because, as you know, I've been trading for at least 10 years. I really got into it in about 2010 was when I got serious. So a little bit more than 10 years, you could say. And in that time, I had no idea what I was doing. I was pretty much worse off than you guys because back then in those days, there was nobody really teaching on YouTube. We had Astro FX. Those were the two coolest guys that were on YouTube. Some of you might remember them. And then there were a few other guys, but there was nothing really solid. And we didn't even have backtesting software. We had no trading view. I was really just doing everything on MetaTrader at that time, trying to figure it out and, buying indicators and using the indicators that the MetaTrader would give us to try and experiment and come up with my own trading system. And we didn't even have prop firm accounts back then. So you'd have your $100 or $1,000 or whatever money you had that you saved up to put into the account. And, there I was then thinking I could make $100 million with, my $100 account with my broker. And so the point is that 5 years ago, during that time, before the 5 years, I had my own business. So I was able to take care of myself. I had a business in real estate. I was a realtor selling real estate. And I did real estate for the 10 years up until 2020. And the real estate business was pretty good. I had no boss. I had my own hours. The first deal I closed ever in real estate was a $1 million apartment unit. And my commission for that was $30,000. So I was hooked instantly. And over the 10 years, I must have done maybe $15-20 million in sales. So I've been doing all right. But I hated kissing ass and having to go out and meet people. And, I had no weekends. All the clients would want to meet and view properties on the weekends. And there were no commitments. You would go and do work and you wouldn't know if you would get paid. Basically, you cannot charge people for showing property. And so I always had an obsession with trading because I just liked the introvert lifestyle, being alone, not dealing with people, just me and myself against the market. And when I got to 2020, I was nowhere close to where I wanted to be in trading. I'd already got divorced, lost my marriage. People gave up on me, lost a lot of money in trading, blew about $50,000 of money that wasn't mine. People gave it to me because they believed in me. That really hurt. And so by 2020, I realized that every time I wanted to focus on trading, my my real estate sales would drop. I would just go down these wormholes, these rabbit holes for months, lock myself away to try and figure out trading, and then the sales would drop. So essentially, I was trying to catch two rabbits with one hand. And I'd saved up, I had enough money by 2020 saved up to just quit for a couple of years. Because I got to the point where I realized that if I didn't go all in on one thing, I wasn't going to be happy. Now you got to listen to me on this, because this is for the real ones, okay? And I know a lot of you have to keep your jobs. I'm not telling you to quit your jobs. I'm not telling you to do what I did, because what I did was fucking ballsy. But I quit my real estate business and I got rid of everything. And I moved back home. My parents had a ranch. We had 10 acres ranch. And it was a new place that they just moved into, and I never got to live there, but I had a room there. So I thought, you know what? I need to get out of the city, and I need to do this now, or I'm never going to figure this out, this trading business. So I got rid of everything, sold everything, and then I moved back home. Talk about taking a hit to the ego. I was 35 by then, and I'd done pretty well. But you could say I was at the top of my game in my other business, but I wasn't happy. I hated it. And initially, I moved back and said, this time I'm going to go all in on real estate, all in on trading, and figure it out. I gave myself 5 years. There's a guy called Alex Becker. I don't know if you know Alex Becker, but I don't really watch his stuff. But there was one thing that I saw in one of his videos that stuck with me. And he said this: you only have about 40 years in your life to work. And that means you only have a few swings in life to make something work. So if you start a business, you got to give it 5 years before it becomes successful. And you got to give it 5 years each time. And before my real estate business, I'd had other businesses, which I did for 5 years. And I had call center businesses, sort of like the Wolf of Wall Street style. I was super young, super hungry back then. Made all my money on a telephone. And so I always wanted to just be able to work anywhere, because I hated being stuck in an office. I hated the desk job, and I hated to have to answer to anybody. But Alex Becker said you need to give it 5 years, 5 to 6 years for a full swing. To give it a proper swing, meaning that you got to give it a proper try. And I had to admit that, the previous 5 years at that time, or 8 years or whatever it was, my trading, I didn't give it the proper swing that it deserved. And so this was the decision to go all in on one thing, on my trading. And so I came out here, this beautiful place. And I've been walking here every day. These are my daily walks. If not here, then I go for a hike. And it just hit me that I had my biggest trading month. And I've only been profitable this year. And the secret to being profitable, I realized, was the psychology. This whole time, I had been running away from psychology, from my own mind, from my emotions. And it hit me like a ton of bricks at the beginning of the year, because now I was 5 years in. Since 2020, it was now 2025. I was 5 years in, and I was still just break even at that time, at the beginning of the year, not getting anywhere. I mean, I understood how to trade. I studied ICT. I found ICT in 2023. So I've been, I don't really trade ICT. Okay, I'm more of a structure. I trade structure. Okay, if you have to know, I trade market structure and volume. But ICT really, will help you understand a lot about the market, about the way the market moves, about all these concepts: fair value gaps, order blocks, liquidity, and that's all good. But I don't trade ICT. But anyways, I was just not getting to where I wanted to be with the trading. And I almost quit last year because it was coming into 5 years and coming up on 5 years, and I was still struggling. And I blew an account at the beginning of last year, and I thought, you know what, I felt so bad. It destroyed me. So I took a break for 6 months, and I ran into a friend of mine who knew I was into trading, and he was doing very well for himself. And he said to me, he asked me, how's the trading going? And I gotta say that by then I was beaten already. And I gotta say that I was embarrassed to say, you know what, man, I'm about to quit. I'm about to quit. That's what I was gonna say. I said I had nothing to show. And it really annoyed me because it made me, I wasn't even meant to see them, my friends. They were just in my part of town for their own business. They had a business event, and it was all God sent, I would say. It was all universal sent. And I had a I had enough dog in me to just give it one more try, one more shot. And I said, you know what? I'm gonna go back. I don't I don't know how I don't have a plan B, because I was fortunate enough to, when I moved out here, when I left the matrix, this was when then COVID hit and the red pill hit, and then I got really woken up with like all the nonsense with the matrix, and it just made me like further not want to go back into the matrix and like, you know, have to get this to work. But I had a spiritual awakening during those 5 years. And so I was manifesting. I was able to manifest things like I'll tell you a funny story. I manifested Shiba Inu. So I had whatever money I had when I left the city, when I left the matrix to come out and and just be in this isolation and focus on my trading and get away from the distraction. I was already playing around with manifestation. And the funny story was, I manifested Shiba Inu. It was the beginning of the bull run. And I remember I said, I set the intention that I want to find the best meme coin that's going to just make a shit ton of money. And I found Shiba Inu on Twitter, out of all places, when you don't expect it. Shiba Inu, it was 2 weeks old, and I put $2,000 in, and then it made 5,000x in 90 days. So I was okay with money. I never had to work since. But that's not, I mean, that's just the universe coming to support me. So what I'm saying is that when I left the matrix, I had no idea how I was going to do it. I had no plan. I didn't know how anything was ever going to show up or turn out or whatever. It just, I didn't know that they were going to shut down the whole world and force everybody into lockdown. I didn't know any of this shit. Like, I just followed my gut, and all I know is that I played my cards right with everything. And then I found, 2 years later, after like walking, hiking every day, being all spiritual in nature, being close with God, and just praying for fucking like a breakthrough with my trading, then I find ICT, and then things start getting real, right? There's no more this indicator bullshit. Like, you start learning how to read market structure and market, right? And when I came back last year, there was the whole Alex G. Alex G has been a big part of my journey. I learn a lot from him, set and forget. And if you want to learn, you should definitely learn from him. He's better than what he teaches is what ICT misses, is my opinion. And so I don't even trade Alex's system. I have my own system. Like, my system is better than all of them. Okay, but I have a hybrid system that I created because I've been doing this for a long time. So like, I do know what works and what doesn't, and been refining it. But it was only this year when I decided to focus on my psychology, was when things really changed. Was when I started getting consistent, right? Even maybe just a couple of $1,000 in the beginning per month to now tens of thousands. Now it's like a couple of thousand a week. Like, I'm always very cautious to share my results because I'm humbled. I've been humbled, and I know how hard it took for me to get here. And I'm not about to fucking spill the beans that easily, right? And frankly, I don't care if anybody believes me or they don't, right? I know where I am. And I know that I'm helping more people than not. Seriously, like, the amount of comments that I get, and I read all the comments from you guys. I love you guys all. I get all your comments and I read them. And some of you guys, like, we're so similar. Like, we had no plan B. There was no other option. We're all into the same thing. And some of you write in the comments that you watch my videos and you start crying. You break down and you start crying. I actually started my channel 5 years ago as well. When I came out here, when I came out here, when I came out here, I thought I was going to trade Forex and start a YouTube channel and teach some fucking bullshit indicator strategy that I had created. And I shut down I stopped posting because I realized that I wasn't who I said I was, or I wasn't where I needed to be. I didn't have the results. I had no right to be teaching. I would be lying. And this is why, and I'll post a video on here. You can see my first video from 5 years ago. You can see, and I look a little bit more fat. Decided to make a New Year resolution, and I was going to change a lot of things in my life, and I was going to start trading Forex full time, and also quit my real estate business. And I had no gray hair. But it's funny because that message from Alex Becker to give it 5 years, you have to give it 5 years. So you could actually just say that I've been trading seriously, like on it for 5 years. So it took me 5 years to get here. So whatever happened before 2020, I could just write it off because that was just bullshit. Like, we didn't even have TradingView. We had none of that. We had nothing. No prop firms, no TradingView, no ICT, you know. And really, it was just like swinging punches in the dark back then. So we could just write that all off. I mean, if you want to count from my first time I ever put a trade, we're talking 20 years ago now. Like, I was literally placed an options trade with Boar's data in 2006. In year 2006. That's 20 years ago, 19 years ago. That was when I was just about at university, getting deported, getting kicked out of university because I hadn't passed any of my exams. And so I asked for a refund for the semester, and they gave me back the refund. And I put that into an options account, $5,000, and I blew it in a week. And I had no idea what I was doing. All that I had was trend lines and a seminar that I had attended. It was a wealth seminar by George Mihos in Melbourne. And, you know, it was a money seminar. It was a motivational seminar, that, you know, and it was how to buy real estate, how to trade stocks, and all this shit. So, like, you could say I've been doing it for 20 years, but it's all like, I didn't know what I was doing. Like, let's just say 5 years. Since 2020 till now was when I went all in on one thing. So we'd just say 5 years. And I think 5 years is a fair time for anybody. But if I had to start again in the 5 years, I would do this. I would learn structure, market structure. I would learn volume, all the volume profiles, and I would trade higher time frames. I would swing trade, but then I would focus on psychology. That's the thing. That was the final tipping point. And psychology sounds so unsexy. It sounds so boring. Like, who the fuck psychology? Why would you want to focus on psychology? Like, I read Trading in the Zone, Mark Douglas, once. I didn't even read it. I listened to the audiobook, and it didn't stick. You see, the problem with all the psychology courses and people that are teaching psychology is they don't teach it like the way I do, because my psychology, the way I teach you how to reprogram, is the same way that I got it from my manifestations. How I reprogrammed for my manifestations, how I was able to manifest other things into my life, the meme coins, the gut feelings, the intuition, the spirituality. Like, this type of stuff was was my normal passion. And only then did I decide to apply it, the techniques. There are techniques that I decided to apply it properly to trading and take psychology seriously and start reprogramming myself for trading, that it started to actually work. You see, you cannot be told about you cannot be told about fear and greed. You cannot be told about, impatience, patience, or any of that shit when your subconscious is working against you. Like all these big guys, Rand Howell, what's this name, Tom Trades, respect to them all, Mark Douglas, all respect to these guys. And I never worked with them and I never learned from them. And I'm not trying to compete with them, but all I know is that my system, my program, and all the thank you letters and all the mental shifts and the improvements in my students that they're having from the program has been overwhelming. Like, this is my purpose, because like God didn't put me through all this pain for nothing. You see? Didn't make me walk through all this shit for nothing. And then to figure it out and then to keep it to myself. Why? Trading is zero sum. There's no, like, it's just an empty way to make money. There's no satisfaction. I get more satisfaction when I read the comments and when I get the letters and the emails from the people that I've helped saying that this is their final, like they were about to quit. Like, what I have given you, what I've created with the Inner Edge Pro is exactly what I used to fucking turn my shit around. Does that make sense? And I couldn't make it any cheaper. And I'm thinking about putting the price up, actually. But for now, I'm going to keep it the way it is until I figure out what to do next. So I know some of you guys have been struggling and you're trying to learn about psychology. You just got to trust me that this is the program for you, because you need a structure, a daily structured program to reprogram yourself. You cannot just guess your way through this. You cannot just go read a book about it. You cannot go watch some fucking AI video talking about psychology. It's just not going to help you. It's not going to work, right? If it worked, then everybody that watched those programs would be all right. And they're not. You have to trust me on this. And so I decided to come out for a walk and bring the camera out of the house today. Partly because I have an injury in my tendon doing preacher curls. I messed up my bicep tendon, so I'm not going to the gym as much this week. So I'm going to do even more walks, walk and talks with you guys. Change the atmosphere a little bit, spice things up a little bit. And I just want you to know that I don't want you to quit. You're so close, and it is possible. It is so possible to do it. Like, you don't need to know how. This is the part of it, right? And the fact that you're watching this video is that you have somehow manifested me into your life. Just like I manifested my mentors into my life. Just like when I said, I'm going to give it one more shot last year, the middle of last year, I said, you know what? I'm going to try one more time to figure this out. And then boom, Alex G goes and does his 100 to a million challenge right in that timing. Like, the timing couldn't have been better. Do you understand? So my message to you is, you don't need to know how things are going to work out. You just have to believe. You just have to trust the process, that if you try and you keep trying, God is going to bless you. God is going to help you. God is going to get you through this, really. And I'm so blessed to now finally be able to work on my content on my YouTube and help people and help you guys and do my trading. Like, this is all I really want to do. You know, I love it. And I'm only just getting started. I am only just getting started. Like, but I'm also humble enough because I've been through a lot. You know, so I'm careful with what I share. And I'm not seeking validation. I don't really care about external validation. You see, you guys need to grow in silence. You need to learn how to work in silence, in the dark, when there's nobody watching, nobody clapping. You don't get claps for effort. That's the other thing. Before, I used to post online my trades and my wins and try to get validation for effort, not results, effort. That's bullshit. It doesn't work like that. So if you guys are doing that, like, you'll probably want to like chill out on that a little bit. You'll probably want to chill out on that a little bit and check this out. Have a look at this. Okay, I don't know how to do that. I'm still figuring this out. You guys need to walk more. Seriously, if you walk every day, it's gonna be good for your mind, your soul. It's gonna help you think. All of my ideas, all of when I was stuck, I'd go for a walk. And then the answers would appear, right? The answers would come to me. Because you know why? When you go for a walk, you're looking far away. Look at the view. You see how far? All the mountains behind me? And when you're looking far away, your mind is relaxed. You see, most of you guys are looking at your screen, your phone, you're in the city, you're in the train, you're in the subway, you're in some fucking shit. And you just can't see beyond yourself. You cannot get a perspective on life, right? So you need to go for a walk every day without fail. And you got to get close with God. You got to pray to God every night before you go to bed. And believe in yourself. I know it's hard for some of you guys. I read your comments. Some of you are crying every night. You cry yourselves to sleep every fucking night. I've done that. I've done that. But you know what? It's worth it. It was worth it. And I want to just tell you that you deserve the best in life, and you deserve to bet on yourself and believe on yourself, and you deserve to win because you came this far. You're not about to quit right now. You're so close. I'm telling you, you're so damn close. You have no idea. Exactly a year ago, when I decided to come back and trade, when I just decided that I'm going to give one more try, I've had my biggest month. like consistent profits. It's insane, but it's not insane because I put in the work and I worked on myself. You see, you have to work on yourself. You have to do the internal work, which is what I'm offering you, which is what I have for you. There's no other way, right? So sometimes you just got to listen to someone that's done it and just trust what they say, right? If you're new to my channel, go ahead, like and subscribe, drop your comments below. Let me know where you are at with your journey, which part of your journey you're struggling with or what you're dealing with, and tell me that you're never going to quit, that you got the dog in you and there is no plan B. You're going to make this work. I want every one of my subscribers to, everybody that watches, I want you all to win. I'm rooting for you. I want to see you win. Genuinely, I do. Okay? Because I believe that if we all win and we all become the strong foundation that the family need, the people that left us or the people that stopped believing in us, whatever, let them be. Right? They don't know how, they don't know. But if we become what we can become and be the best that we can be, we are the warriors of the world. You know that. We are the warriors sent here to figure this shit out, make it work, and then help society, help. Because you gotta be the change that you want to see in the world. And so I hope I can inspire you guys to take the torch and pass it on. Right? Love you guys. Take care now. Bye. See ya.